Hey everybody, I am Lillymu961 and today we are going to discuss Code Geass Season 3. This news was announced on November 27, 2016, otherwise known as the day Christmas came early. During an event celebrating the show's 10th anniversary, Sunrise announced that Code Geass was going to get a third season entitled Code Geass, Lelouch of the Resurrection. Some sources say Lelouch of the Revival. The story is set to take place a few years after Zero Requiem, and before the release of the third season, there is going to be a 3-part film series recapping the events of Code Geass R1 and R2. From this point forward, be warned that there will be some spoilers, as the pros and cons of a third season cannot be discussed without talking in depth about the end of R2. For this purpose, I have a special guest on the air with me today. Please give a warm welcome to the illustrious SuperNova23, everybody.
Oh wait, was that my cue?
We are leaving that in live.
I did that on purpose, just so you know.
Oh, well don't tell them that.
We'll fix it in post.
Oh dear, okay.
By
well,
we,
no,
I mean you'll fix it in post.
Okay, yes, I know. So, Nova, you know how excited I am about this. So, before I go into fangirl mode today, tell us your thoughts on this news.
Okay, well, I'm interested, but it's piqued my curiosity, but that's about it. Like, I like Code Geass just fine, but the thing is, like, there's no story to tell, really. I mean, the ending to Code Geass was the perfect ending. It tied up every loose end. Everything was given closure. There's no real need to continue the story at all. And I don't know about the movie thing either. That's going to be kind of because a big bulk of the second season of Code Geass wasn't very good. They got rid of all the tactical thinking for Gundam Syndrome, where the heroes win by pulling out a bigger mech than the bad guys. So I'm interested, but until I hear more, I can't give a final say. I just don't think it's gonna be that great, especially if the third season takes more cues from the second.
And those are your thoughts on the whole matter?
Pretty much, yeah.
Darn, you were quick. I thought you'd take much
There's
longer.
not a lot to say.
Okay. Well, there's not a whole lot to say, but I will say that I do agree with you on the fact that the Code Geass ending that we have currently was pretty perfect in terms of tying up loose ends and everything such as that. But there are a few characters that did not get that so-called, kind of happy ending like everyone else
like
did.
Who?
At the end of... Like Suzaku.
He doesn't count.
He's the main one. And you're not supposed to interrupt me, mister. We had ground rules.
He got an ending, though. The thing is...
Ground rules. Hush, hush. You let me talk. Now, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my guest, Nova.
Yes.
Okay. As I was saying. Now, I've seen this done before in different fan fictions around this series, where they continue with the story for one of the characters that does not get their, sort of happy ending. Especially if that character is someone that was tortured throughout the series, like Suzaku. And it can work if you give that character, character development, because as far as Suzaku goes, he is kind of a one-note character in terms of he doesn't really have like a full character arc. He kind of goes in this character arc that's about halfway. He goes from kind of like this long-suffering guy, and by the end he's a bit more like Lelouch.
In terms of character depth, he's an ankle-deep puddle.
I'm sorry,
In terms of depth, Suzaku is an ankle-deep puddle compared to everyone else. He has no depth to him, really. No depth to him, really.
Whoa. Did he just say what I think he said? Y'all heard that, right? Really? Right? Yep. Really? Clearly this boy has lost his mind, but this is a topic for another time and a different day. For now, let us proceed. Well, but it can be explored. There is some depth there. It just hasn't been explored. And I feel like if the main character of the story were him rather than Lelouch, it would make a bit more sense to continue it, just because he's basically in a position now, because at the end of R2, he basically becomes Zero. He's the symbol of the thing that pretty much took away the happiness he could have had in his life with Euphemia. Or, you know, or his ideals and stuff. He's basically become the symbol of everything that he hated in his life. And so to reconcile that, you know, you have to go through, gosh, I'm not presenting my thing well. All I'm saying is that, you know, it is possible for it to work. I'm just not sure if Lelouch is the right character for that, because basically what ends up happening is that Zero Requiem has to, in a sense, fail completely. Like, there has to be like this big main bad guy that's come in, that's threatening Nunnally, or, you know, threatening the system that Lelouch put in place. And so, like, considering all the work that Lelouch put into it to begin with, you know, it does take away a lot from that ending. So there are definitely causes for concern, especially if like Sunrise or any of the other companies affiliated with this are just out for the cash grab. But I'm not sure. I mean, it's just one of those things where you really don't know. So, yeah.
Well, first of all, I never said anyone had a happy ending. I said that everyone had an ending. Whether it's happy or not, their loose ends were tied, their character was resolved in some way. And about Saki, there's really not much to resolve about him, so the thing is, all the characters reached closure on a certain point, and everything ended. Like, there's nothing to do but like go through their daily lives now.
Or is there? I mean, there are other elements to explore, like, as you said, the everyday life, which there are aspects of that that can be interesting because, you know, a lot of the characters are still in that sort of government kind of thing. Like Nunnally, for example, she's the 100 Empress at this point. And if you recall, at the end of that final episode, she says that really all she wanted was to, you know, be with Lelouch and live happily with him. But of course, he's gone now, so she has to move forward and, you know, be this, you know, this figure of power that she necessarily didn't want to be. So, you know, to kind of live out his dream of what he wanted for her. And so, you know, there is something to explore there in terms of how she feels about everything. You know, how she feels, because she may end up finding out that, you know, Suzaku is Zero. You know, she's never seen Suzaku before, so that would be a shock because she has her eyesight back now.
All right, yeah.
You know, there are some interesting things, you know, left to explore. I mean, there's also Colin. She's going through school at the end of that, but she may go back into, you know, the Black Knights or whoever, you know, is working at this time to like combat whatever evil is coming about. Because the purpose of like Zero Requiem was kind of to unify everyone together against one thing. Now that one thing is gone, and what ends up happening is that, yeah, they're unified for a time and they're, you know, working together, but all these people do have different interests and different motivations. And eventually, you know, with the passage of time, those things are going to clash. So it does make sense that the Zero Requiem would end up being unsuccessful in the long run. And so in terms of that, if Lelouch is alive to see that, it does make sense that there would be a reason for the story to progress on that level, because it would cause Lelouch to rethink some things, maybe. Who knows? I mean, it's definitely interesting, as you said.
Now that I'm thinking about this, I just realized that Lelouch pretty much tried to turn himself into almost a Christ figure. Like, he took everyone's sins onto himself, he died, and then when the third season came, he rose again.
You know what? Yeah, it is very symbolic of that, isn't it?
I just realized that now.
I've heard. Really?
Yeah.
You didn't notice that before?
Well, I never really thought about it until just now.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, that parallel is definitely there, especially in terms of, the death and sort of thing. And yeah, but yeah, with the resurrection too, that's gonna be, wow, they're doing some crazy symbolism with that. That's kind of cool.
I don't think they planned that at all, but still.
I mean, you never know. I mean, because all throughout this time that, Code Geass as a show has been ended, they've still been releasing like little mini OVAs and other such things. So it's not like it ever really truly like completely stopped.
Yeah, like Akito and Not Only in Wonderland.
Yeah, and like little things like that. They even had this one called The Miraculous Birthday, which Lelouch is actually in. It's actually post R2, but it's weird because it's like Lelouch is in it, and like Suzaku is in it, and they're all at school, and they all have like this little mini adventure. And spoiler alert, but at the end, like of their little adventure that they have, Lelouch starts disappearing, and it's like he starts making apologies to all the people around him and whatnot, and oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and then there's also been the mangas like Suzaku the Counterattack and Nightmare of Nunnally.
I mean, yeah, so it's never really had a chance to like, if anything, Code Geass, like the more that people are exposed to it, the more popular it is becoming. And it's not really like your typical shonen in terms of, like it has some shonen characteristics in terms of like the rivals and the big, robot fights, especially when they do throw out the tactics aspect of it in R2.
It's a it's more of a subversion of the mecha genre where during R2 they kind of lose the whole subversion idea.
Yeah, they do a little bit. But I think it was more because they were focusing more on characters at that point. They were really focusing more on like, character building for a lot of these different characters.
They had a really good beginning, really good end, and then just sort of ran out of stuff to put in the middle, so just grabbed whatever they could.
Yeah, a little bit. They had to like stockpile some extra characters and kind of like sort through some things, some midway things. But there were also some really dramatic things that like that they connected back with the first season. Like with Shirley, for example.
Kinda.
That's the big one. That's the one that's just like, that came out of nowhere. If you remember, like that shocked me because he goes back to school. They have their little fun episode. Literally the next episode, everything goes to crap, and that sets the course for the rest of the season. It's like right at that moment, it's like things got real.
It's kind of like, here are things we have. They kind of like, they had a collection of plot points and just needed to make an excuse to go from one to the next.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Which, but on a whole though, it's still not really like, it doesn't have a lot of filler. It's not really, typical in that shonen sort of way, especially because it touches on issues such as politics and racism and things such as that, which not a lot of shows, especially in anime, well, I don't really know in terms of anime too much because I haven't seen every anime, but in the anime that I've seen, that issue isn't touched on a whole lot. So it's like, and then in combination with the mech aspect and the supernatural aspect, it's really jam-packed with a lot of different interesting things, and that's kind of the appeal of it. So I think that's why a lot of people are excited about it, because they get to see that mesh of just, different issues, and everyone can take something different out of it. That's what makes it great.
Yeah, it does have a lot of deeper themes, and the only time racism really comes up is when people are analyzing and activate the race card, as you so eloquently put it that one time. Stop activating the race card, Kaiba.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of one of those like underlying things for the show, though, the racism thing, because it is Japan versus Britannia. They have their kind of preconceptions about each other, which that's going to be probably missing from this third season, which that was a big part of the show's kind of core thing to begin with, you know, getting past that and then also getting past the class system also. So it's like, it's like, how are they going to handle that? Like, what theme are they going to replace that with? Because I doubt that that aspect will be as prevalent. It's very interesting. I think that's, like you said, that's the most kind of intriguing thing about it. It's just really, really interesting. And this third season, it's like, you're interested, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's fun to speculate, you know?
Also, real talk for a second, I tuned out as soon as you commented on my thoughts recapping.
I'm sorry, what?
I just tuned out of the conversation, like, as soon as, like, a while ago. I've been improving.
Well, what do you think I've been doing? I don't have... Normally with these types of things, I like to have all my thoughts down on a piece of paper so that I can be like, okay, this is how I think, and, you know, kind of have my little shield or whatever. I had none of that. I've been talking out of my behind, okay?
I woke up an hour ago. What's your excuse?
My excuse? I'll tell you what my excuse is. I'm always like this. I'm a hot mess all the time.
Yeah, it has been a hot mess since we last did one of these off-the-cuff things. Well, when was it? Fate's Day Night?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was the last time we did it. And it was much shorter than this.
That was, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think so, as well as all of our other review stuff that we've done. That was about 2 years ago.
The archer class is made of archers.
Alright, so everybody, I think I'm going to wrap this up because we've been talking for about 16 minutes now. Almost 17. So, thank you everybody for listening to us kind of ramble, me especially. I know I have a tendency to run at the mouth. Thank you, Nova, for being my special guest
No
today.
problem. And just one last thing. I'm not sure if the recording picked it up, but if you hear 2 beeps when she's doing her outro, it's because Lena was messaging me on Skype.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our Code Geass discussion video, and sorry for the abrupt ending to it. Be sure to check the description of this video for links to Nova's channel, as well as my second channel. I will also be putting some links to our fanfiction accounts if you would like to check those out. If you would like to see more Code Geass content from me, let me know in that comment box below, because Code Geass is my favorite anime, and I could talk about it for days upon days. Also, I would like to take a quick minute to send a shout out to a few people who commented on my last video regarding this topic. Special thanks to Datey Cool, Bjack Striker, Parish MJ, Gojira Anime, Alex Natoe, VL, No Cheech Without the Chong, AS Told Productions, and Death AMV of all times. Thank you very much for all of your comments. Some of them really had me laughing. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video too. Have a great day, and happy holidays! Mwah!